Salakia, man. These fucking devils kicked me off my live, yo. See, this is how you know they. This is how you know when you're bringing out a certain type of truth. These devils will kick you off your live, and I ain't even get into. I ain't even get into the lesson like how I'm about to get into it, because that was only just trying to compare certain things, and they know I'm about to compare it to something else that got to do with C.E.R.N. So Esau getting mad that the word is coming out a certain way. You see? Especially now that if you try to break it down in a scientific way, the way these devils is all about, all right, they don't like that shit because they're like, damn, how is this guy going to talk to these people on a scientific form and get it through their heads? You see? That shit got me mad as hell right now because I realized because somebody texted me and said that they just cut my live off. That's how I knew they cut me off. I got a couple texts from people. All right, but shit got me mad as hell right now. But I ain't gonna stop me from bringing out this word. I still got to bring it out. So, all right. Basically, let me do the rerun because I'm not playing that whole thing with Lucy again. So, anybody that has seen that movie Lucy, all right, if you haven't watched it, watch it, all right, because it basically goes into her being that God particle where she turns into that matter. All right, at the end, she's the matter. She's basically everywhere. All right, and that's what this whole matter about. That's what that matter is about. Let me grab it. I think it's in. I got it in one of these. Is it in this one? No, it's not that one. No, it's not that one. Where did I get that at? All right, let me do it this way. Because I kind of got it in order the way I wanted to go at this. All right, so yesterday while I was watching this live, all right, this is I'm going to show you how it got to do with us. All right, now, according to science, all right, let me grab it this way. This whole thing of C.E.R.N is basically them trying to collide particles together, going into protons and neutrons and what do you call it? Electrons, all these crazy different particles. They're trying to collide them together to give you what you will call that Big Bang theory. See, they speak about that life started with the Big Bang theory, but in all reality, they know that never happened. But what they're trying to do with this C.E.R.N, which this C.E.R.N right here, this is what I was saying earlier in the last part before they cut me off. If you look at the C.E.R.N logo, it has sixes, nothing but sixes in it. All right, this is 1 6. Then you got the one that starts from here and it goes around, and then you got this other one that goes this way. All right, and this goes to show the representation of Salakia. You know what? I didn't even share my Salakia. I didn't share my page. Yep. See, this fucking shit got me mad as hell because I had everything set up, and these damn devils want to push me right back off. All right. So going back, all right, this C.E.R.N logo has nothing but sixes. As you can see, it goes a 6 around the C.E.R.N. Then there's another one that goes around it, and then there's another one that goes around it. All right, so it goes to show you that they're wicked with it. All right, so basically what I was saying is the whole thing that they want to do with this is combine these particles at a fast pace at the speed of light to make one go one way and then the other one comes the other way, and they basically collide together, creating a Big Bang theory. See, they speak about how life started with a Big Bang theory, and that's why it's called a theory. All right, because it's something that they think the way it went down. All right, and they give you what hypothesis according to these theories that they have. A hypothesis is basically an educated guess, as you would hear back in the days in school. All right, so this is an educated guess that they come up with of how things started, but in all reality, they know that's not how it started. They know everything is through the scriptures. Everything was created through Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. But with their science and them not believing in Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. They are literally trying to create a Big Bang theory, you see, to see what they can get out of it. This is why if they collided enough, okay, basically they'll start this black hole. They'll start this dark matter. All right, they'll pretty much create something that they have no clue of what they're going to create, but they know it's going to create something according to their science. Because just like they think in the Big Bang Theory that it was all these atoms and protons and they all came together and it formed energy and then it formed us. You see, so that already tells you with them doing this this whole little C.E.R.N shit, all right, that they did yesterday live. That's what they're really trying to create. And mind you, this thing is supposed to run for 4 years straight, all right? And in the process yesterday, they were already gaining new evidence of new dark matter, which they're going to use exotic matter as the word. But exotic matter is dark matter, basically, all right? So they're already gaining a certain type of energy out of what they're doing. And they've been trying this for years and years and years. But as time gets, closer to this end, like it says in Daniel, knowledge is going to be increased even more. So this devil has the knowledge to do it. All right. But the thing is that his knowledge comes from the left-hand side, man. See, us being in this truth, we have the knowledge of the right-hand side. All right. So let's go into a couple of these articles and try to combine it how I want to bring it in. Lord willing, it's edifying. Lord willing, the Spirit be with me to deliver it properly. All right. So this says awake. Okay, I found this very interesting that this was called an experiment of awake. All right, because they're trying to awake something. They're trying to wake something up. Okay, it says awake explores the use of plasma to accelerate particles to high energies over short distances. All right, it says the advanced proton-driven plasma wake field acceleration experiment. Awake is an accelerator R&D project based at C.E.R.N. It is a proof of principle experiment investigating the use of plasma wake fields driven by a proton bunch to accelerate charged particles. Okay. Hold on, I gotta be checking my damn feed every 2 seconds. All right. Shabbat Shalom, Yahweh Bashim Yahushua Barakatah. All right. Yeah, I think it's running. Somebody give me a thumbs up just to make sure it's still running, because it showed that it was running before and that was actually kicked off. All right, but let me see. Somebody put it up. Yep, there we go. The water, brother. Appreciate it. So going back, it says a plasma wave field is a type of wave generated by particles traveling through a plasma. All right. This word plasma, all right, goes into many different things. All right. It says awake sends proton beams through plasma cells, all right, to generate these fields. And I'm not going to read all of these. I'm not going to read, well, this one I can read because this one's short. Yep. I'll read this one because it's short. It says, and you know what? Let me go into this awake real quick. Of course not. Yeah, that's Satan. All right. I'm not even gonna bother with it. It says where was I? Awake sends proton beams through plasma cells to generate these fields. By harnessing wake fields, physics, all right, it says may be able to produce accelerator gradients hundreds of times higher than those achieved in current radio frequency cavities. All right. So we know that this has something to do with radio frequency. What does the Rice Krispie treat got to do with radio frequency, right? We know that. It says this would allow future colliders to achieve higher energies over shorter distances than is possible today. All right, so now they're thinking of the future. Okay, it says awake uses proton beams from the super proton synchrotron in the C.E.R.N. Neutrinos, all right, to Gran Sasso facility. These protons will be injected into a temp. All right, so this is being injected. All right, this is why I believe what they were showing you in Lucy, that part when she was being injected. All right, it really meant something. It was symbolic for something, because again, we know what we've been told so far through the researchers brothers have done and found out what's in these yo jabba jabbas, but I'm sure there's still things that we don't know that's in there. Okay, so if they're injecting these things into this, what makes you think they're not putting it into those yo jabba jabbas to inject it in you? It says into a 10-metry plasma cell, all right, to initiate strong wake fields. A second beam, the witness electron beam, would then be accelerated by the weak wake fields, gaining up to several gigavolts of energy. Following the wake's approval in autumn 2013, the firstborn beams were sent to the plasma cell at the end of 2016. During the 2016-2017 run, strong wake fields generated by the proton beams in plasma were observed for the first time and studied in detail. In 2018, electrons will be generated in these plasma wake fields. Awake is the world's first proton-driven plasma wake field acceleration experiment. Besides, and that's bullshit because they've been doing this for decades. All right, forever. Okay, it says besides demonstrating how protons can be used to generate wake fields, Awake will also develop the necessary technologies for long-term proton-driven plasma acceleration projects. Awake is an international scientific collaboration made up of 16 institutes and involving over 80 engineers and I forgot how you say that word. Physicists. All right, hold on. You know what? Let me get the word for you right now so I don't keep sounding retarded when I say it. All right, physics, I think it is something like that. Yeah, give me 1 second. I want to say it right. Physicists. There you go. Physicists. That shit is crazy as hell. All right. So physicists. All right. So now the key words in here was plasma cells. Awake sends proton beams through plasma cells to generate these fields. All right, let's go into plasma cells. All right, this is, you know what? I got one over here actually. I think. Give me 1 second. I think I put it up over here somewhere. There you go. Plasma cells. All right, it says plasma cells, a type of immune cell that makes up large amounts of a specific antibody. Plasma cells develop from B cells that have been activated. A plasma cell is a type of white blood cell, also called plasmacyte. Okay. Now, what does a white blood cell do? I believe that fights off. It's supposed to fight off when you have infections and things like that. Your white blood cells start to fight off and help the body. All right. Give me 1 second, let it load real quick. Less technical. Wow. That shit didn't give not one fucking. Wow, that's funny. Hold on, I'm gonna have to open it up. Usually gives you a whole definition of what it does. What does a white blood cell do? White blood cells are part of the body's immune system to help the body fight infection and other diseases. Now, let me put you on, right? Now, with this whole yo jabba jabba that we're doing, what was the biggest thing that started being put out after the fact that people had took it? All right. The fact of the matter was that people started catching these different diseases to the point where They were telling people to check for AIDS, SARS, all right? Which that's pretty much what they were giving people through that yo jabba jabba, all right? Because what was it doing? It was breaking down your immune system, okay? So now, make sure I'm still running. Shalom, shalom, Yahweh Bashim, El Shabrakatah. All right, I'm still running. All right, so it says, again, awake sends proton beams through plasma cells to generate these fields. Now, with all this shit that they're doing, we understand that it's what? It has to do with some type of frequency levels, energies, and things like that. So if this is something that they have around the world, basically, this shit is miles long, you see, and it's supposed to come back, you know, it's supposed to come around and keep going around, and it creates a certain force. All right. If it's got to do with plasma cells, what makes you think that it is not going to affect your body, especially those that have taken the yo jabba jabba, right? Because what has been going on with their bodies, pretty much their immune system is being broken down, like as if you had AIDS, because that's what AIDS does. It breaks down your body to the point where your body can't fight off infection. Okay, it can't fight off no sickness. So this shit has to do, it's showing you that C.E.R.N has to do with plasma cells. It has a lot to do with it. So this can affect, I believe, your body somehow. I can't give you the scientific answer to it, but putting 2 and 2 together, you know, you can see that this shit somehow is going to affect your body, especially those, all right, that have taken that yo jabba jabba. And this is why we need Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, man. This is pretty much why we tell you not to take these things and not trust your enemy, all right? Because this devil has a certain agenda to everything. All right, let me bring out this next precept. All right, I don't want to open it up because I already got a bunch of tabs open. All right, but this is Psalm 64. So like it, Psalm 64 and 2. It says, hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrections of the workers of iniquity. Okay, let me jump into another precept from that and I'll go right back to that. All right, this is Micah 2 and 1. And it says, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. You see? And why? Because the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. They are in control of everything, starting with these top banking families. See, look at my shit. That shit was just bugging out right there, that whole screen. All right. Let me make sure again, y'all still on. Esau being his bullshit. All right. Yep, we still good. All right. So it says, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand, because the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. And they're able, starting with these banking families, man, to fund these corporations, man, and they fund basically them the money for them to put these things together. Do you know how long it probably took for them to actually create that whole entire fucking laboratory that they got? You see, if you just look, look at this shit. Look at this. Look at this hallway, man. This is just endless technology built upon each other to create one form of a little ass tube that's just taking in matter, taking in protons, electrons, and all that, man. You see, shit is bugged out. That's you talk about trillions and trillions of dollars. That ain't no billions. That's trillions and trillions of dollars. Who's funding that? These top banking families that have money going way back fucking thousands of years, basically. All right. They got money that just continually gets passed on wealth to wealth, family to family. You see? So they have the power to do these things and they practice these things. Okay, now going back to Psalm 64 and 2, hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity. Okay, it says, who whet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words, that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not. You see, so who's the perfect? The perfect is the Israelites. So everything that they do and all these other nations do, because this whole C.E.R.N shit was consisted of what was we just reading? It said 80 was it in here? All right, it says 16 institutions and involving over 80 engineers. All right, international, it says international scientific collaboration. So that means that all these other nations are involved with this. They have different type of nations involved together to come up against us. You ain't gonna see no Israelites up in here. All you gonna see is straight heathens together. That's why if you watch the live, all right, in fact, let me jump into that live real quick. All right.
If you're a homeowner in New Jersey and you're still paying for electricity, then you could be missing out on free government assistance to go.
The technologies and scientific advances.
I'm just gonna scan through it real quick. I'm not gonna play the video. Come on, man. All right, if you look, all these are straight heathens.
The size of the beam.
Which this was another thing I said interesting. These devils is all about certain things. If you look at this whole picture right here, that shit just reminds me of their little owl, because they got that secrecy. It's like a picture of an owl. All they need is the little ears on this shit. All right, but
the beam, and this size will be reduced.
Edomite, heathens.
The detectors, and finally take.
Look, heathens.
Feeding collisions into the Large Hadron Collider. We're here today in what we call the LHC Islands.
Heathens in that shit. That's all you're going to see is, look, heathens. Heathens. All bugged out heathens, man. You're not going to see no Israelites in this shit, man. See, all heathens. All right? So, going back to what I was reading, all right, it says that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not. Let me grab one more precept to go with that, showing you that these heathens is all involved. This is Psalms 83. All right, Psalms 83 and 2. And it says, they have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together. Who has consulted together? All these other nations, man. All these heathen nations have consulted together, all right? With one consent, they are confederate against thee. See, it says the tabernacles of Edom, of the Ishmaelites, Moab, the Hagarenes, Gabal, Ammon, Amalek, the Philistines. You see, these are all different heathen nations, man, that are coming together to come up against us. So when it says they shoot at the perfect, it's just shooting at the Israelites. Okay, going back to 64, Psalm 64, it says that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not. Point. They encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares privily. They say, who shall see them? They search out in iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search, both in both the inward thought of every one of them, and the heart is deep. You see, so they constantly are making a diligent search on us. You see, they have a diligent search amongst even their own people. All right, but the point is that they do these things to know the inward thought of every person, how the Israelites think, how they gonna react. You see, pretty much how man moves. This is why they do these researches, man, because they're trying to play that God. They want to be that God particle that has in control of all things. That's why in that movie Lucy, which they never let me finish it, when you go into the end of that part, she becomes that God particle, basically. She has control of all things. She was everything that was around us, you see? And according to their science, they believe that God particle is pretty much everything around us, every single type of matter that's around us, you see? And again, we're looking at this at a scientific aspect, because you got to think like these motherfuckers sometimes to understand where they're going with things. And then we filter it through scripture. All right. So it says they make a diligent search, both the inward thought of every one of them, and the heart is deep. And the heart is deep, meaning the mind could go deep into things, man. All right. And imagine we only use 10% of our fucking brain, man. Imagine if we were to use more, look how much we have accomplished in the matter of time with just 10% of our brains. Imagine if we had 20%, 30, maybe 50. That's what it goes into that movie Lucy. She basically touched 100%. All right, to the point where she was in control of all things, and she understood every single thing, every aspect of life. All right, this is what they're playing. They're trying to play that role. Okay, even to the point where they're taking protons and neutrons and colliding them together to create a Big Bang theory of what they've always said the world. This is how the world came about, through a Big Bang theory, and they know that's not true. But they're trying to create one, and they're trying to bring it into existence just to see what they can create by creating that to making it collide like that. Okay. It says that's the point on that, actually. But I want to read 5 again. They encourage themselves in an evil matter. Okay. They commune of laying snares privily. Let me read that in the NLT. It says they encourage each other to do evil and plan how to set their traps in secret. All right. So this whole shit might have had, it has to do with matter and creating dark energy, but it also has an agenda to harm us. All right. Those that have taken the yo jabba jabba, those that when they take that Rice Krispie treat, this is going to play a big effect in it. You see? Because they're going to be able to control certain energies of your body, okay? Because you are connected to that system, all right? Let's go back into what I was reading. Oh, I am in it, Salakia. So, and that's why I said you right here, it said to you, awake sends proton beams through plasma cells to generate these fields, all right? And they also had to do with radio frequency cavities, all right? And we know that the Rice Krispie treat has to do with radio frequency, and these plasma cells, like we was just reading, all right? It says plasma cells is a type of immune cell that makes large amounts of specific antibody. Plasma cells develop from B cells that have been activated. A plasma cell is a type of white blood cell and is called a plasmacyte, okay? So if we see that C.E.R.N has to do, their technology has to do with something involving plasma cells, and you yourself have plasma cells in your body, then put 2 and 2 together, man. That shit's going to affect your body somehow. How is it going to do? We don't know, all right? I'm pretty sure they only know and have the agenda of what they think is going to happen and what they're going to try to make happen, all right? And this is probably what, remember, the Lord said there's going to be a time under the heavens that ain't never been seen out here, man. So who knows what this whole shit is going to really accumulate to, okay? This might be the reason why people start acting bugged out, like zombie-like mode, all right? People start going into a certain type of mode that they can't control themselves because they're being controlled, okay? Now, from that, okay, I went into this super awake uses proton beams from super proton synchrotron. All right. Synchrotron. Yeah. All right. Let me see. I think it's right here. All right. This is a quick one I could read real quick. It says the super proton synchrotron is the second largest machine in C.E.R.N's accelerated complex, measuring nearly 7 kilometers in circumference. It takes particles from the proton synchrotron and accelerates them to provide beams for the Large Hadron Collider. The Na61 C.E.R.N and Na62 experiments, the compass experiment. All right, let me see what that shit's about. Compass experiment. It says the common muon and proton apparatus for structure and spectroscopy. Experiment is a multi-purpose experiment of C.E.R.N's. The experiment looks at the complex ways in which the elementary quarks and gluons work together to give particles we observe, from the humble proton to the huge variety of more exotic particles. More exotic particles. Remember, I told you that we're going to use that word. I was saying it in the first lesson today. I mean, in the first part before they cut me off and I have to redo it. They're going to use exotic particles as the word, but exotic particle goes into, let me see, goes into dark matter. Come on. It says, there are several proposed types of exotic matter, hypothetical particles, and states of matter that have exotic physical properties that would violate all known laws of physics, such as a particle having a negative mass. You see, that dark matter, that negative energy, dark energy, hypothetical particles, and states of matter that have not yet been encountered, but whose properties would be within the realm of mainstream physics if found to exist. And let me bring out a scripture for that real quick. This is, and I brought this out in the last two parts of me talking about this C.E.R.N. All right, but I'll bring it out again. It's the spirit. This is 2nd Ezra 14. It's like at 13. And '31. And one shall, let me take it up from 29. Behold, the days come when the Most High will begin to deliver them that are upon the earth, and he shall come to the astonishment of them that dwell on the earth. And one shall undertake to fight against another, one city against another, one place against another, one people against another, one realm against another. You see? And this is going into the time of, this is when Yahweh, chapter 13, 2nd Ezra, goes when Yahweh returns on that gigantic chariot, and you're going to have these devils they're going to be so afraid, but yet there's fight. They're going to try to fight, you see, going into that one realm against another, okay? Going into, pretty much, because Yahweh is coming back not to meet you as a man, He coming back in angelic force, all right? So you got the angelic realm, let's just say, versus the carnal realm of man, okay, trying to go after Yahweh. But it just goes to show you that it's going to be a fight between certain type of realms, all right? And with all this technology they got, they think that they're going to be able to handle and fight against Yahweh through their technologies, man, all right? Through the carnal realm, you see? So let's go back. It says a major aim is to study the internal structure of protons and neutrons, and to discover more about how the property called spin arises in them, in particle, how much is contributed by the motion of quarks and by the gluons that bind the quarks together. To do this, the compass team fires muons, particles that are like heavy electrons, and particles called pions at a polarized target. Another important aim is to investigate the hierarchy or spectrum of particles that quarks and gluons can form, In these studies, the researchers also look for glue balls, exotic particles made only of gluons. These damn words, man. It says about 220 physicists from 13 countries and 25 institutions work on the compass experiment. The results will help physicists to gain, I gotta say it like that because that should be crazy, to gain a better understanding of complex world inside protons and neutrons. All right, amber, or apparatus for meson and baryon experimental research, will be the next generation successor of compass after the experiment's last run in 2021 and 2022. So this was literally happening. All right. Let me see what it says. Protons are one of the main building blocks of the visible universe. Together with neutrons, they make up the nuclei of every atom. All right. Now this is going into your body. All right. Check this. Yet several questions loom about some of the proton's most fundamental properties, such as its size, internal structure, and intrinsic spin. Damn, there's a lot in there. Hold on, Slovakia. I'll just read to the first one. And it says, in December 2020, the C.E.R.N Research Board approved the first phase 1 of a new experiment that will help settle some of these questions. All right. Amber will be the next generation successor of the laboratory's compass experiment. Compass receives particle beams from C.E.R.N's super proton synchrotron. And this is how it shows you, man. All these things fucking are connected somehow, and directs them onto various targets to study how quarks and gluons form hadrons, such as protons, pions, and kaons. All right, and give these composite particles their distinctive properties. I don't want to keep reading into it. Let's see. I'll read this part over here. It says, second, by directing protons onto proton and helium-4 targets, Amber will determine the little-known productive rate of antiprotons and antimatter counterparts of protons in these collisions. These measurements will improve the accuracy of predictions of the flux of antiprotons and cosmic rays, which are needed to interpret data for experiments searching the evidence of dark matter in the flux of anti-proton cosmic rays. So these let me put it to you like this. These cosmic rays are needed, right, to interpret data. Yeah, because what we're going to be getting in them Rice Krispie treats is going to be something that records your data, interprets your data. So they need these cosmic rays to be around. So this is you being connected to that system. All right, you being connected to their wicked ass system somehow. Let me leave it at that. All right, so let me go back, and that was pretty much the point on that. I didn't even see, hey, Lord willing, that's the spirit that just got me going into it. Going back to this, the super proton synchrotron. All right, it says the SPS became the workhorse of C.E.R.N's particle physics program when it switched on in 1976. Look, this is how long they've been doing this shit for, man. Research using SPS beams has probed the inner structure of protons and investigated nature's preference for matter over antimatter, looked for matter as it might have been in the first instance of the universe, and searched for exotic forms of matter. A major highlight came in 1983 when the Nobel Prize winning discovery of W and Z particles was the SPS running as a proton antiproton collider. The SPS operates at up to 450 GeV it has 13. It says it has 1,317 conventional room temperature electromagnets, including 744 dipoles to bend the beams around the ring. The accelerator has handled many different kinds of particles: sulfur, oxygen, nuclei, electrons, positrons, protons, and antiprotons. All right. Now, going into that, right? The nucleus and the nuclei, like I was saying before, this is something I realized. All right. Damn, how do I get up out of here without missing this? Oh. If you remember in the Super Bowl, all right, let me bring this one up first. In the Super Bowl, Kendrick Lamar had did a certain performance, and I understand why now. You know, I knew what it represented before, but now it makes even more sense. All right, this is what he did in the time of the Super Bowl. All right, he right here. This represented carbon, okay? Carbon atoms, which carbon atoms goes to what's pretty much in our body. All right, let me see if I think I put it up in one of these. All right, let me just read this. It says atomic number 6. All right, this is the picture that it really, see, I filled it in. But this is because I kept wondering what the hell that meant, and they kept showing it from the top of the top view of the sky view. And these devils, when they do halftime Super Bowl halftime things, they do rituals and they actually do things that represent certain things. And I was trying to figure out what this was, and this is what it represented. All right, it basically represented carbon because of this whole thing that they're about to do. You see, this whole thing that they got going on with the C.E.R.N collider and all that. All right, now let me get, I think it's right here, the carbon atom. It has an atomic number of 6. This means a carbon atom has 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons, representing what? 666. Okay, and this is what they're messing with. This is what they're basically, look, the nucleus. All right, and this is in our bodies, man. This is them trying to grab these particles, basically these elements, and collide them together to create something new. All right. This is another little thing that I have found messing around just to see. You can't take everything on here because they're talking about is the mark of the beast. They're off on that. But this is the only part I took out of it. All right. It says right here, it says, my hypothesis is that a black hole is in the shape of a star. All right. Tetrahedron, cube, octa, cube, where all the space is removed between particles of the atoms. Matter is infinitely compressed, becoming the memory chip, all right, of the galaxy. All right, it says, which you could scratch that 666 part there. It says the past records can only be transmuted by the acceleration of time or presence by enough people reaching critical mass. This would not only be a personal ascension, but a galactic one, unlocking and clearing all cause, effect, record, and memory. Okay. It would also fulfill a prophecy. In the twinkling of an eye, all things were changed. Okay, that's the only thing I'm going to take out of it. Everything else is bugged out. All right, that goes, which I'm gonna show you, which their whole theory, this shit goes way back to the times of the Egyptians. All right, because the Egyptians had some type of form of intelligence of this same shit that they're doing right now, showing you that this place is what? Spiritually known as Sodom and Egypt. All right, but what caught my eye was that basically with this 666 bullshit, with all these carbon atoms and all that, it has something to do with a black hole, and that's what they're pretty much trying to create, a black hole somehow to conjure up these demons and bring out this dark energy and dark mass energy. All right. Let me take that out the way. Slakia. Let me go back into the. Oh, you mother. Oh, I was about to say, I thought that should kick me off. All right. So that's what carbon atom represents. And that's what that whole picture that you saw in that Kendrick Lamar scene I just showed you. That's what carbon represented. That's what that sign represented. And it makes sense because they knew that they were about to do this whole experiment of C.E.R.N. All right. And then on top of that, in that whole performance, they showed you FEMA camps, all of that, man. All right. So let me see what else I got in here. Salaki, I'm jumping around. Let me make sure my live is still rocking. Oh, did they say that 10% of our brain is false? It could be, you know, because as a matter of fact, you know, somehow, you know, if we tap into Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, how we supposed to, hey, anything is possible, you know, at the end of the day. So we might surely be able to use 100% of our brain, you know. I haven't one of the scientists from the trailer looks like the one in the C.E.R.N. It's crazy. Oh man, I gotta check that out. I definitely gotta check that out. Basically a portal for spirits on left-hand side, right? Well, yeah, that's what that whole black hole goes into. It's pretty much that's what we believe it is. It's somehow them trying to open up a certain portal to that left-hand side to tap in even deeper to what they know. All right. And it could all be everything is through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. All right. But you know, because they deal with, you know, Satan on the left-hand side, and just like it tells you in 2 Thessalonians that they came after the working of Satan, you know, Satan will mislead them, man. Satan will literally bug them out. Okay. But I have to look into that more of us using 100% of our brain. All right. But let's go into back to where I was at. Let me see. What is this Higgs boson, which we already know what that meant. That was going into that God gene. All right. All right. This is particle physics on the brain to show more that I feel like this shit got to do more with us than them really creating dark energy. All right. It's more like they're trying to bring this dark energy out of us through mind control and, you know, being able to do certain things with these protons and neutrons and colliding them together to make a certain type of vibration that's going to affect our minds. And this is, again, this is why the Lord told you not to take, you know, that yo jabba jabba, basically the you know, the Rice Krispie treat. All right. Because you're not going to be in your right state of mind. You know, they were saying those that took the yo jabba jabba, a lot of them were saying as soon as they instantly took it that they felt that God gene disappeared. They felt like faith left. Like they had no, they almost had no recollection of faith and of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. You see? They didn't believe in God no more. So it's affecting us somehow. All right. It says particle physics on the brain. I'll read a little bit of it. Salakia. It says understanding the fundamental constitutes of the universe is tough. Making sense of the brain is another challenge entirely. Each cubic millimeter of human brain contains around 4 km, all right, of neuronal wires carrying millivolt level signals connecting innumerable cells that define everything we are and do. The ancient Egyptians already knew that the different parts of the brain govern different physical functions, and a couple of centuries have passed since physicians entertained crowds by passing currents through corpses to make them seem alive. All right. Now, going back to what I was just saying, this shit goes back to Egypt, bro. Them already doing this shit. There's no new thing under the sun, like the scriptures say. Okay. Now, we are going to enter into a time we've never seen, but see, these times that we never seen, they actually happened back in the ancient world, but the time that we're going to enter is going to be far more advanced. You see, it's going to be way crazier than it was back in the ancient times. All right. And that's why it's going to be a time that has never been seen. All right. Now, it says, but only in recent decades have neuroscientists been able to delve deep into the I don't know if they meant to say develop, all right, deep into the brain circuitry. All right, it says on 25th of January, speaking to a packed audience in CERN's theory department, VJ, whatever the hell his name is, of the University of Pennsylvania, described a physicist's approach to solving the brain. Did his PhD in theoretical particle physics at Princeton University and also worked on the UA1 experiment at CERN super proton synchrotron in the 1980s. Today, his research ranges from string theory to theoretical biophysics, where he applies methodologies common in physics to model the neural topography of information processing in the brain. Let's see what else. Oh, it says the brain's basic architecture is reasonably well understood. Highly complex sensory and cognitive tasks are carried out by the cooperative action of many specialized neurons and circuits, each of which has a surprisingly simple function. All right, this guy's last name, Balasubramania, something like that, Manian, used examples including our sense of smell, which allows human and other animals to distinguish vast arrays of odor mixtures using very limited neural resources, in our sense of place, how we mentally represent our physical location to demonstrate that brains have evolved neural circuits that exploit sophisticated principles of mathematics, some of which are only now being discovered. All right, it says remarkably, predictions made usually using fairly crude models are turning out to describe the brain circuits rather well, often challenging traditional thinking. In general, this guy's last name, calculations suggest that animals have evolved to get the biggest cognitive bang for the smallest possible number of neurons. Going into that that big bang. Okay, it says neurons are expensive, he says, pointing out the brain makes up just 2% of our body weight, but represents 20% of our metabolic load. The brain consumes just 12 watt of power, 7 times less than a typical laptop computer, yet both significantly oh man, these words, significantly more Salaki for the fuck up over here, more computational power harnessed to perform subtler functions. The brain can make us fall in love, whereas the computer hardly recognizes a face, he says. It says, still, this guy thinks humans overestimate their cognitive abilities. We are not quite as special as we think we are. He argues that the majority of our brain's behavior stems from primal wiring that is common to most vertebrates, while a quantitative understanding of higher concepts such as thoughts and consciousness is still far off, clearly there is a fertile ground for physicists to explore in the fast changing world of neuroscience. Right? Physics of the brain. It says brain functions involves information processing across a wide range of scales, from subcellular signaling cascades to neuronal networks spanning many centimeters and on time scales from millisecond duration of an action potential up to the maintenance of information in memory over a human lifetime. All right, and in that movie, pretty much in that movie, Lucy, that's what she did. At one point, she was so tweaked up that she had the remembrance all the way to the beginning. You see, so going into that, they even trying to do that with the Rice Krispie treat, where they're able to store your memory of a lifetime into one basically, one Rice Krispie treat being put in you. Another movie that shows that it's not a movie, it's a show. It's Black Mirror. If you look at Black Mirror, that first episode, that's what it was showing. The guy had the little remote in his hand and he was able to tap in back into the future, whatever had passed or whatever he had seen, you see, and he was able to record that continually, man. All right. Let me go into this right here. I already went into that. All right, this is the physics of brain network structure, function, and control. All right. I ain't gonna go too hard on that. It says the brain is characterized by heterogeneous patterns of structural connections supporting unparalleled feats of cognition, Slovakia, and wide range of behaviors. New non-invasive imaging techniques now allow comprehensive mapping of these patterns. However, a fundamental challenge remains to understand how the brain's structural wiring supports cognitive processes, which with major implications for personal mental health treatments. Here we review recent efforts to meet this challenge, drawing on physics institutions, models, and theories spanning to the domains of statistical mechanics, information theory, dynamical systems, and control. We first described the organizing principles of brain network architecture instantiated in structural wiring under constraints of spatial embedding and energy minimization. We then survey models of brain network function that stipulate how neural activity propagates along structural connections. Finally, we discuss perturbative experiments and models for brain network control. These use the physics of signal transmission, only structural connections to infer intrinsic control processes that support goal-directed behavior and to inform stimulation-based therapies for neurological and psychiatric disease. All right, and this shit right here is just pretty much showing you how through signals and all that, they're able to control certain things. All right, which again, that Rice Krispie treat is going to be based off of signals, because the 4 ingredients that they had when before as soon as this guy Biden had signed off, he signed off in an executive order, which I remember it was in April. You could probably look it up. He was basically going into signing off an executive order on computer CHIPS. All right. And what he really was signing off on is the actual Rice Krispie treat. But he was giving you the 4 ingredients. He kept mentioning about 4 ingredients that were in this this Rice Krispie treat, and it went into semiconductors. It went into pharmaceutical, and went into radio frequency, like antennas and things like that, and batteries. You see, and all that shit correlates with this. All right, going into some type of signals, all right, because that's what that's basically what the radio frequency part was about. The antennas what gives you the signal, all right, and is able to give that transmission into of data to wherever they're trying to transmit it to. All right, and it says along back to where it was at. It was the last part. It says throughout, we highlight open questions that invite the creative efforts of pioneering physicists. All right. Let me see if I can read these. If there's anything in there. Connects between. All right. The architecture of structural connections between neurons and brain regions is constrained by requirements of energy, minimization, and efficient information transfer. You see? Requirements of energy. All right. So again, this is that whole C.E.R.N shit is about what? Having some type of energy being created. Okay. It says the materialization of long-range correlations and synchronizations from the collective firing of individual neurons conjures notions of emergence and critically from statistical mechanics. Let me see. It says together these investigations of brain network structure and function guide targeted treatments for cognitive disorders using theories of network control. All right. And how this network control going to be done through that, basically through that Wi-Fi. You see, us we're pretty much like a Wi-Fi, and they want to connect you even more. This is why they're able to put that Rice Krispie treat in you and connect you, because we are like a Wi-Fi somehow. You see, and they're able to control us through their network and network through us. Okay. Now, more than ever, understanding the complexities of the mind lies at the feet of curious and pioneering physicists. All right. Yeah, let me bring this out real quick. Should have brought it out before. Going into this word right here, which I ain't gonna say it, which I read it. Okay. Stimulate cells to ruffle and shed plasma membranes. Now, remember in the last live before I got cut off and I had to restart. All right. That's what it was showing you in Lucy. Lucy was literally playing in her hand. She was bringing up protons, electrons, all of that. She kept showing you in her hand what she could bring up. So going to show you with this Yo Jabba Jabba, they're actually putting this in your Yo Jabba Jabbas. All right. So these people that are walking around that already had 2, 3, 4 of these things, you definitely have this in your body. All right. And if you want to look at what that really does, all you got to do is just go on to YouTube, punch in this word, and a good video to watch is put that word in and then put telephone rings. All right. And this shit is creepy as hell. It basically, every time the frequency of the phone was turned on and it started ringing, this thing right here was standing still. But the moment it had frequency around it, this shit started just breaking out and started looking crazy as hell. It was looking creepy as hell. So basically, this is actually building up in your body more and more. And the more that you continue to use your phone, the more that you continue to put maybe earbuds on to listen to music, that shit is multiplying in your body. All right. And when they finally kick on that real 5, 6G, all right, or they at a certain point with their C.E.R.N, okay, this is why I think it's going to have people bugging out. And it has to do a lot more with our body more than them trying to bring out dark matter. All right. They're really, the dark matter is going to be your ass, I feel. You see? It says, but it says it stimulates cells to ruffle and shed plasma membranes. And we already went into plasma and all that, you know. That goes into plasma cells, all of that, and it's in our body. All right. I'm about to be wrapping it up. I'm pretty sure I got a couple left. Same thing. All right. Potential to improve magnetic measurements for accelerators. You see, so they're using this even in the accelerators. Meanwhile, you also got it in your body. So you see how the two go together, man. It's going to have some type of effect on these people that have that. All right. It says, yeah, I can read that real quick. It says a technology company born out of the Department of Materials Science at the University of Cambridge are set to detail final results of tests conducted on a novel, you already know, based local magnetic measurement sensor. The collaboration has proved that such a sensor eliminates some of the systematic errors and inaccuracies found in the state-of-the-art sensors used at C.E.R.N. All right. It says the Hall probe is an important tool for local magnetic field mapping. And let me see what that means real quick. I wonder if it got to do with like GPS or something like that. I don't think it does, but I just want to see. Come on. It's lucky I'm like all over the place and all that, but like I said, a little willing that the lesson is edifying. Come on, bro. It's probably not a word. That's why it's probably not together like that. Oh. It says also known as the geomagnetic field is the magnetic field that extends from Earth's interior out into space, where it interacts with the solar wind, a stream of charged particles emanating from the sun currents. I don't have nothing to do with that. All right. It says an essential task in particle accelerators, which depend on high precision magnetic fields. The probe transduces the magnetic field into a proportional voltage. However, errors frequently arise due to elements of the sensor not being perfectly aligned with sensitive to in-plane field components, planar effect, as well as nonlinear response. Theoretically, the word solves this issue. This carbon, and I have to do it like that because some of these words on the algorithm, forget about it. It says the carbon allotrope, it's a allotrope, first discovered at the University of Manchester in 2004, has been hailed as the new wonder material as it extremes thinness, Salakia. I'm so used to reading this Bible when I be seeing them words. Thinness, lightness, and conductivity and resistance could revolutionize a variety of technologies. In the case of Hall probe, the development of two-dimensional sensor clears the issue of planar effects and makes for precision detections, including in liquid helium temperatures. Right? For showing you that they, this is involved with it. All right, along with that yo jabba jabba. Let me see what it says here. Mediators proposed C.E.R.N.-like organization for human brain project, which I'm not even going to go into that because I already read a couple of things how it has to do with the brain. All right, but this is like another company that's going to be like C.E.R.N. that's got to do with brain, somehow attacking the human brain. All right, with this whole type of technology they got. I think there was something important in here. I want to press it, but something's loading. You know what? Let me make sure I'm still live, man. Yep. All right, let me go here. And this was crazy too, because it was called "What Does C.E.R.N Have to Do with Jerusalem?" Which I ain't gonna read into it. It was just something, somehow Jerusalem was involved with it. It was kind of weird. All right, but I wanted to bring this part out, which I thought it was interesting. Yep, this right here. Yeah. This says emergent dualism will play a role in the subsequent discussion, yet it may be less than familiar to some readers. I insert here a brief explanation of that position. The central claim is that mind, soul, and consciousness has emerged both in human beings and in other organisms when the brain or brain analog of the creature has reached the right stage of functional and functional organization. All right, check this out. It says what emerges is not merely properties or behavior, but a real self-existence entity. All right, a substance. The mind soul emerges from the developing organisms, and in normal circumstances, depends on the organisms for its continued existence and functioning. Right. Nevertheless, the mind is a distinct entity of its own, and it is logically possible for it to continue to exist absent its material substrate. The potential, the potential for generating a soul. Check this. The potential for generating a soul is inherent in the nature of ordinary matter, but this potential is not evident in any situations other than the complex organization required for the emergence and functioning of consciousness, thus emergent dualism. So there's a potential of them trying to generate a soul. See, when the soul, when all that comes from Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah at the end of the day, but showing you that this damn devil's trying to play the role of God, all right, of the Lord, by trying to generate his own soul, basically trying to generate a soul, all right, which they have no understanding of the soul, all right, because they some soulless ass people. As a matter of fact, I think that's a scripture. How's it go? Man, I feel like I've read that before. Something talking about they're soulless. Not meaning because we all have souls in our body, because that's what the body is your body with a soul in it. But meaning soulless as in they could care less about their own damn soul. Salakia. Yeah, I can't find it right now. But yeah, these damn devils they could care less about their own damn soul at the end of the day. They could care less about that anybody. They don't even care about their own type of people, man. So this is why they do these wicked agendas, man, because they're not caring about nobody but themselves with their pride. All right. But anyway, it says, let me read that one more time. It says, nevertheless, the mind is a distinct entity of its own, and it is logically possible for it to continue to exist absent its material substrate, right? The potential for generating, and you know what? Because when you die, where do your souls go back? It goes back to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. You see, until what, 3-4 generations, and then it's being put back into a body, a new body. All right. It says the potential for generating a soul is inherent in the nature of ordinary matter. All right, which I believe I did. Yep. What is ordinary matter? It says ordinary matter is the stuff that we are made of: protons, neutrons, and electrons. Stars, planets, Salakia, trees, animals. Okay. Oh, see, look, this is what I was saying before. Dark matter is sometimes called exotic matter. So when they say exotic matter, they really meaning dark matter. It says everything we can see or detect with telescopes is ordinary matter, which scientists call baryonic matter. All right. So going back into what we're basically, what we have in our bodies: protons, neutrons, and electrons. Right. So you got this devil that will try to basically generate a soul, create a soul, right? Trying to play that role of the Lord, man. Let me go into, we already know that, what physics is about. Let's see what we have here. This is dark matter. Yeah, this is pretty much, let me see, I think that's the last. Yeah, I got like 2 more, and then I'll close it up, and here maybe a couple precepts, and then I'll close. It says dark matter search enhanced by LHC's new turbocharged brain. All right. This is short. Let me see. It says dark matter is hypothetical type of matter consists of approximate 27% of the mass and energy in the observable universe that is not accounted for by dark energy. Baryonic matter and neutrinos. The baryonic matter should include matter composed of baryons. It says it must include protons, neutrons, and all the objects composed of them. Atomic nuclei. All right, which that's in the body. It's all in the body. What if there's a dark matter detection system? All right, it says recently scientists from the University of Bristol have launched a detection system to detect dark matter. It will improve the Large Hadron Collider's ability to search for dark matter and extra dimensions. All right, the Large Hadron Collider is the world's largest and most powerful particle collider. It is the largest, most complex experimental facility ever built, and the largest single machine in the world, according to researchers. It will also improve the fundamental physics of the world, working a brain dark matter detection system. After the collision of each particle of Large Hadron Collider, detector extracts all the data together produced in a microsecond. The detector analyzes the data that is essential for understanding a wide range of physics. It then searches for extra dimensions and for the particles that could develop dark matter. There is a condition that must be completed by the detector, which is data from CMS detector must be identified within a millionth of a second to conclude. It concludes that something interesting is happening, and that data must be stored for further identification. And they did that yesterday. I believe when I was looking at it, it was like 4 or 5 new pieces of dark matter they had accumulated just in one day. Remember, this is supposed to run for 4 years. So imagine what they're going to really continue to collect, which I'm pretty sure they're going to, I believe, as a matter of fact, they did say that they believe within time of it running, all right, it's going to continually, they're going to keep adding more to it to make it more powerful, to see what more they can push out of it. See, they have to start off slow and increase high with it later, because they can't just go straight hard with it, because they don't know what it's capable of doing. So they have to do everything in increments, basically. So they're going to keep adding more energy to it, all right, to try to create something bigger every single time. All right. But it says, where was I? Oh, yeah, I had to read this. So it says, Dr. Jim Brook, all right, because I thought this was interesting too, going back into that Rice Krispie treat. Dr. Jim Brook, senior research associate in the School of Physics at the University of Bristol, said the system effectively receives a digital image of each collision from the detector. This upgrade is like switching to HD TV. The pictures are much higher resolution. We can also process an entire image in one CHIP. Before we had to split them up and process each piece separately. Okay, so now they're talking about this coming into actual Rice Krispie treat, basically. All right. It says discovery of the brain is explained by Dr. Alex Tapper. It says Dr. Alex Tapper from Imperial College, group leader in developing the custom electronics boards for the new trigger, said normal PCs are just enough to perform this analysis of the data. So we developed a custom processor ourselves. We used a cutting edge CHIP, which is very good at performing many calculations in parallel, and built a system using optical fibers to feed an enormous amount of data into the CHIP. All right. And if all this got to do with protons and neutrons and all that, and I just said before that we are pretty much going to be used to be that new computer, that new cell phone, imagine what they're really trying to get out of us, man. You see, they're able to go into these different, they're able to calculate certain things. All right. They're able to gain certain type of data that they couldn't when it wasn't in our body. See, this is why he wants to get inside your body, man, to further on with his technology, for him to further go on and bring forth his science theories and shit. You know, shit is crazy as hell. It says the new system is much more powerful, and we hope it will help us make new discoveries in the future. All right. And everything that they've been doing is basically based on for the future. All right. This whole, new world order that we're going through is basically all for the future. A new future that's coming upon us. All right. But see what the scriptures say, that he will stop his enterprise, that he cannot. Let me grab that real quick. This is Job 5. This is Job 5 and 12. It said, it says, he disappointed the devices of the crafty, so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. He taketh the wise in their own craftiness. In the counsel of the froward it is carried headlong. They meet with darkness in the daytime, and grope in noonday as in the nights. You see? So the Lord's going to lift up that standard against them. Just when he about to fill up his belly, like it tells you in Job 20. All right, Job 20 and it says 22, in the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. When he is about to fill his belly, Yahweh shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. You see? So meaning what? When he literally think that he got the world in the bag, all right, got the whole earth in the trick bag, all right, that's when the Lord's going to pull out his trick bag, all right, and basically turn all that shit against him. His own, let's grab that. His own pate shall return upon his head. All right. This is Psalm 7 and 16. his mischief shall return upon his own head, and his violent dealing shall come down upon his own pate. You see? So all that shit is going to backfire at him at the end of the day, man. He's not going to be able to, proceed with his inventions. Wisdom of Solomon 2 and 21, it says, such things they did imagine and were deceived, for their own wickedness has blinded them. You see? So this whole time, their own wickedness has literally been blinding them. All right? Blinding them. This is why this is why you got to fear Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, because he could put a certain spirit on you to make you feel like you're doing things right. Make you feel that what you're doing is the right thing. And in all reality, the Lord is misleading you to destruction. And this is why this devil's going to be destroyed on a high level, all right? And then you're going to have to serve hardcore bondage, and then you're going to have to be disintegrated off the face of the earth. You see? You want to talk about protons and neutrons and God particle, all right? Matter of fact, let me see that. What was it? Where's it at? I had it before. Because he said something in that God particle definition. What was it? Oh, I think I took it off. Shit. But it went into something. Let me see. It says something about disappearing. And that's what's gonna happen to you. You're gonna become that particle that disappears, that element that's gonna disappear. Let me grab it real quick. I'm gonna bring it up over here. Damn, I forgot which one. I had it in one of the tabs, and it said that basically it ends up having zero hedge on it. Yeah, I forgot where it was. I ain't gonna look for it though. But he was saying something about it'll disappear, that it had zero matter in it and all that. Well, that's what's gonna end up happening to you. You know, messing around with technology and you trying to be above the Lord, man, which he already says that proudly. You know, that's why I said that the wicked boasted of his wicked devices, man. All right, they literally are boasting in their shit, thinking that they got it all figured out. But at the end of the day, the Lord gonna make your ass a matter that never existed, man. You know, disintegrate you off the face of this earth after you get used for that time of slavery for 1,000 years, which is gonna feel like 2,000 years for your ass. All right, and then you're gonna be taken out while all these other heathen nations go back to their rightful lands. All right, and they're gonna be on the submission of our rulership. You know, starting with Yahushua's rulership. All right, but yeah, let me finish reading that. Oh, that's who I was. So it says, normal PCs are just enough to perform the analysis of the data. So we developed a custom processor ourselves. We used the cutting edge CHIP, which is very good at performing many calculations in parallel and built a system. All right, and they already have the system built for us. All right, all they need is for us to get that in our bodies, man, and they're able to what? Make these calculations, these different analyses of data. All right, it says the new system is much more powerful, and we hope it will help us make new discoveries in the future. All right, let me play this video. I should have played it earlier, but this guy's gonna tell you some shit. I probably won't play the whole thing, but I'll get to a little point of it.
This is the Large Hadron Collider. It's 27 kilometers in circumference. It's the biggest scientific experiment ever attempted. Over 10,000 physicists and engineers from 85 countries around the world have come together over several decades to build this machine. What we do is we accelerate protons, so hydrogen nuclei, around at 99.999999% the speed of light. Right? At that speed, they go around that 27 kilometers, 11,000 times a second. And we collide them with another beam of protons going in the opposite direction. We collide them inside giant detectors. They're essentially digital cameras. And this is the one that I work on, Atlas. You get some sense of the size. You can just see these EU standard size people underneath. You get some sense of the size. 44 meters wide, 22 meters in diameter, 7,000 tons. And we recreate.
Yo, that shit is bugged, yo. You see how big this machine is? Like, that's like a super duper machine that's able. This is why we got to get up out of here, man. You don't know what these devils is really up to, man.
The conditions that were present less than a billionth of a second after the universe began, up to 600 million times a second inside that detector, immense numbers. And if you see those metal bits there, those are huge magnets that bend electrically charged particles so we can measure how fast they're traveling. This is a picture about a year ago. Those magnets are in there, and again, an EU standard size real person.
And it reminds me of that actual picture I showed you of the carbon. You know, it was in a hexagon, and it had all these little lines coming out of it. Everything is symbolism with these devils, man. That's why they have to do everything to a certain degree. Like, it has to be intricate, and everything has to be to the T for them, because they all about that left-hand side.
So you get some sense of the scale, and it's in there those mini big bangs will be created sometime in the summer this year. And actually this morning,
see what he said, mini big bangs are going to be created. You see, going into what I was saying earlier, it's like they're trying to create the actual Big Bang theory. They're trying to take the theory and actually make it happen and become a reality, to see what it will make, And then on top of that, it has to do with us being connected somehow. All these things have something to do with us being connected somehow.
I got an email saying that we've just finished today building the last piece of Atlas. So as of today, it's finished. I'd like to say that I planned that for TED, but I didn't. So it's been completed.
This is crazy, because this shit was in 2008. They was talking about this, man.
Completed as of today. Yeah, it's a wonderful achievement. So you might be asking, why? Why create the conditions that were present less than a billionth of a second after the universe began? Well, particle physicists are nothing if not ambitious. And the aim of particle physics is to understand what everything's made of and how everything sticks together. And by everything, I mean, of course, me and you, the Earth, the sun, the 100 billion suns in our galaxy, and the 100 billion galaxies in the observable universe. Absolutely everything. And you might say, well, okay, but what?
Which there's one sun, and then the rest is stars, man. All right. The Lord created one sun, one moon, all right, then a bunch of stars, and then planets. You know what I'm saying? So all these different things are planets out there, which we're going to be able to touch these things. See, they can only dream of wanting to touch these, but we're going to touch these. We're going to live on these different planets, right? That's why the Lord said, in my Father's mansion, there are many, in my Father's house, there are many mansions. This is what it was representing, all these different galaxies that we're going to be able to touch.
Why not just look at it? If you want to know what I'm made of, let's look at me. Well, we found that as you look back in time, the universe gets hotter and hotter, denser and denser, and simpler. Now, there's no real reason that I'm aware of for that, but that seems to be the case. So way back in the early times of the universe, we believe it was very simple and understandable. All this complexity, all the way to these wonderful things, human brains, are a property of an old and cold and complicated universe. Back at the start, in the first billionth of a second, we believe, or we've observed, it was very simple. It's almost like, imagine a snowflake in your hand, and you look at it, and it's an incredibly complicated, beautiful object. But as you heat it up, it'll melt into a pool of water, and you would be able to see that actually it was just made of H2O, water. It's in that same sense that we look back in time to understand what the universe is made of. And as of today, it's made of these things, just 12 particles of matter stuck.
They bullshit in science. Let me read this real quick. All right. This is 1 Timothy 6:20. All right, because this is why you can't get involved with this science bullshit. 1 Timothy 6:20, and it says, oh, Timothy, keep that which is committed to thy trust, avoiding profane and vain babblings and oppositions of science, falsely so called. You see? Because they come out because the knowledge of this world is foolishness to the eyes of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, man.
Stuck together by four forces of nature. The quarks, these pink things, are the things that make up protons and neutrons, that make up the atomic nuclei in your body. The electron, the thing that goes around the atomic nucleus, held around in orbit, by the way, by the electromagnetic force that's carried by this thing, the photon. The quarks are stuck together by other things called gluons. And these guys here, the weak nuclear force, probably the least familiar, but without it, the sun wouldn't shine. And when the sun shines, you get copious quantities of these things called neutrinos pouring out. Actually, if you just look at your thumbnail, about a square centimeter, there are something like 60 billion neutrinos per second from the sun passing through every square centimeter of your body.
Shit, bunch of fucking heathens, man. This guy and his damn these technology theories, man.
But you don't feel them because the weak force is correctly named. Very short range and very weak, so they just fly through you. And these particles have been discovered over the last century, pretty much. The first one, the electron, was discovered in 1897. And the last one, this thing called the tau neutrino, in the year 2000, actually, just, I was going to say just up the road in Chicago. I know it's a big country, America, isn't it? Just up the road. Relative to the universe, it's just up the road. You know, there's a step in size from the entire observable universe. So 100 billion galaxies, 13.7 billion light years away. The step in size from that.
Funny they used that 13.7 billion light years away because yesterday in the live, that's what they were trying to reach. As a matter of fact, I think that's what they did reach. The energy level that they reached was 13.7 TeVs, basically. I think that goes into tetra electron voltage, something like that. That's what they were going. That's exactly the number that they used, 13.7. See, trying to go back, take it all according to their theory of 13 billion years ago and all that shit, which that should be all nonsense, man. Because if you really do the math of our history and you break it down according to the dates and timelines, man, going all the way back to Noah and the ark and all that existed because they finding pieces of it and everything. You know, we probably only been more on earth, more of like over 12,000, maybe 13,000, 14,000 years, you know. So for them to go back all the way down to billions and billions of years ago, that's how you know they'd be off, man. Because how would you be able to tell about something that happened 13 billion years ago, man? You know, that's how you know that science shit is false, man. Is to deceive you.
To Monterey, actually, is about the same as from Monterey to these things. Absolutely exquisitely minute, and yet we've discovered pretty much the full set.
I ain't gonna go into it too much because it's a little bit
called a Higgs field, Higgs particles, if you will. The analogy is that these people in a room are the Higgs particles. Now, when a particle moves through the universe, it can interact with these Higgs particles. But imagine someone who's not very popular moves through the room. Then everyone ignores them. They can just pass through the room very quickly, essentially at the speed of light. They're massless. And imagine someone incredibly important and popular and intelligent walks into the room. They're surrounded by people and their passage through the room is impeded. It's almost like they get heavy, they get massive. And that's exactly the way the Higgs mechanism works. The picture is that the electrons and the quarks in your body and in the universe that we see around us are heavy, in a sense, are massive, because they're surrounded by Higgs particles. They're interacting with the Higgs field. If that picture's true, then we have to discover those Higgs particles.
And the Higgs particle goes back into that God particle that they talk about.
The LHC. If it's not true, because it's quite a convoluted mechanism, although it's the simplest we've been able to think of, then whatever does the job of the Higgs particles, we know have to turn up at the LHC. So that's one of the prime reasons we built this giant machine. I'm glad you recognize Margaret Thatcher, actually. I thought about making it more culturally relevant.
These fucking guys and these whack-ass jokes.
Heard many of the big problems in particle physics. One of them you heard about dark matter, dark energy. There's another issue, which is that the forces of nature, it's quite beautiful actually, seem, as you go back in time, they seem to change in strength, or they do change in strength. So the electromagnetic force, the force that holds us together, gets stronger as you go to higher temperatures. The strong force, the strong nuclear force, sticks nuclei together, gets weaker. And what you see in the standard model, you can calculate how these change, is the forces, the three forces other than gravity, almost seem to come together at one point. It's almost as if there was one beautiful kind of super force back at the beginning of time, but they just miss. There's a theory called supersymmetry, which doubles the number of particles in the standard model, which at first sight doesn't sound like a simplification. Deserves, in the spirit of Wade Davis's talk, to be at least put up there with these wonderful, there's a wonderful narrative, almost a creation story, if you'd like, about the universe from modern science over the last few decades. And I'd say that it deserves, in the spirit of Wade Davis's talk, to be at least put up there with these wonderful creation stories of the peoples, the high Andes, and of the percent hydrogen, 25% helium. It still is today. It continued to expand about 300 million years. Then,
oh gosh, here we go. Let me see what it said about elements.
Which then run out of fuel, exploded, threw those elements back into the universe. They then recollapsed into another generation of stars and planets. And on some of those planets, the oxygen, which had been created in that first generation of stars, could fuse with hydrogen to form water, liquid water on the surface. On at least one, and maybe only one of those planets, primitive life evolved, which evolved over millions of years into things that walked upright and left.
God, bro, these people will feed you
some these
bullshit.
Are the things, right? Saturn V rockets and Sputnik and DNA and literature and science. These are the things that hydrogen atoms do when given 13.7 billion years. Absolutely remarkable.
Yeah, that's the point on that. But yeah, I just wanted to bring it out just to hear what he had to say. But it just goes to show you that their technology and their knowledge of this world, man, is all crock of shit, man. It's all wicked at the end of the day. It's all witchcraft and sorceries, right? And again, you know, bringing out this lesson, it was just to see, try to kind of get on the side of them, you know, on how they see things in a spirit, in a scientific way, you know, because at the end of the day, we don't believe none of this shit. Like some of these things is, you know, elements being in the earth and all. Yeah, those things are real, man. All right. But as far as them trying to figure out how to bring up dark matter and all this extra shit, you know, all you doing is playing with witchcraft and sorcery, man, and it's going to come back and backfire on you, because like I brought down the other lessons on, you know, concerning the C.E.R.N, you know, like in the time of Egypt, you had these magicians, these Egyptians that were playing with magic, man, and the Lord ended up bringing his magic and had them fearing, had them people, you know, dying from fear. These people were going bugged out crazy because of the things that they had seen on the earth. And this is why, you know, with all this shit that they're trying to do on the left-hand side, they're asking for it, man, and they're going to do something that is not going to be able to be controlled, and it's ultimately going to be Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, man, that brings that dark matter, that dark energy upon the earth. Remember, he said that there was going to be darkness upon the earth, gross darkness to people. You know what I'm saying? So this might just be the thing that sets off a certain vibration on the earth of true darkness and wickedness and demons all over the place, man. Because remember, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against powers and principalities, you know, the rulers of this world, all right, and spiritual wickedness in high places, you know, things that we have no understanding of. We understand because through the scriptures, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai has given us that understanding, all right? But, you know, it's all, again, some type of, we only have an understanding to a certain point on how these wicked vibrations and spiritual wickedness in high places really work. You know what I'm saying? So you about to see some shit upon the earth that's just you ain't never seen in your life. You know, and when these vivid apparitions come, and they're gonna be harder than what they used to be back in the ancient time, they're gonna be worse, scarier. You know, these people not gonna know how to act. All right, but you know, that's pretty much the point. What the hell is this one? Probably forgot to bring this one out, but I don't even want to talk about C.E.R.N no more. You know, everything is just like I said. It's all about their wicked ass science and trying to brainwash you, and another way of putting fear in your heart, basically. You know, when at the end of the day we have Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai as our true protection. You know, He didn't give us the spirit of fear. Okay, but you know, they really are trying to bring some type of dark matter, open up some type of wicked ass evil portal. And somehow I believe, you know, through the little things I was reading, kind of put together, you know, Lord willing, it was edifying and it makes sense. You know, somehow this shit got to do with us also, because we have these things according to science in our bodies. So their way of thinking is that if this is out in space and we could control this and we could do that, and our human bodies have these things, these elements in us, all right, we're able to what? We're able to manipulate this and make this happen, make people's minds be controlled through this type of technology. You see, everything at the end of the day is all going back to controlling and being able to connect you to their system, you know, under that what? That Rice Krispie treat, that Wi-Fi, you know, connect you to the point where we don't need computers and telephones no more, man. You are the computer and the damn telephone. You are the data. You see, they don't need no more of researching data and trying to figure out this. You know, there was a time when George Bush even said it. You know, it was a time of brutal, self-made. I forgot the word that he used for them, but he said that understood the aspect of every life. So this is years and years of them making that diligent search upon us and constantly trying to figure out the way the human mind thinks. And ultimately was all to figure out how the Israelite mind thinks, because our bodies is different from all these other nations, man. We have that gene in us where we're able to be spiritually, you know, in tune with Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. You see, so they've been doing studies upon these things for centuries, man. All right, going into decades, going back into even back in the ancient world, you know, because there's no new thing under the sun. They were just doing it in a different aspect and in a different type of way, different time frame. So, you know, technology or intelligence wasn't as up how can I say, it wasn't as strong and up to date as it is today. You know, we're at the worst ever. You know, the way man thinks, like I always say in the lessons, you know, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai have repented him to make man in the beginning when he destroyed him by the flood. It killed him that he had made man, because man's thoughts were continually evil over and over again. Imagine today, our thoughts is beyond, we're like way beyond the way the wickedness was in the time of the flood, man. The wickedness has reached onto the heavens, man. You see? They didn't reach to the heavens in those days. They didn't have space stations that were out sitting in the middle of the firmament, man. None of that. You see, but now our technology and all these things, you know, because knowledge was going to be increased, is far beyond it ever existed. This is why he thinks he's God. This is why he thinks he's a higher power above the Lord. You know, they even said that. They said that they no longer believe in God, that they are God, and they believe in their science to the fullest. You know, there was a whole little article I did on that, you know, but yeah, these devils is on a whole nother level, man, with their wickedness. But yeah, that's pretty much the point. Matter of fact, look, this is the little Big Bang. Goes to show you this is all part of C.E.R.N. These are all C.E.R.N. Articles, man. All right. All you know, talking about Big Bang theories, and they're trying to bring that shit into existence. You know, this is why they had, and you know how they're trying to bring it into existence, because it says it says right here, in the first moments of the after the Big Bang, the universe was extremely hot and dense. As the universe cooled, all right, conditions became just right to give rise to the building blocks of matter. You see, and that's what they're trying to do. If you listen to when they were talking, if you were watching the live yesterday, they said that in the beginning. They said that this shit is underground, cooled in a cooled environment. Basically, they had to be at the temperature, I think it was at the temperature of 0, basically. because it couldn't be too hot and it couldn't be it had to be at the right temperature, real cool, in order for them to run these machines, because these machines are going to get super duper hot, you know. And that's how you know they're trying to create another big they're trying to create that theory to come to reality, the Big Bang theory, because they're in a cool environment underground and they're running this shit to the point where it's going to get super duper hot, and that's when the collisions is going to start. That's when the collision and the colliding of these different elements happen, you know, these protons and neutrons, whatever, you know. And that's what they're creating. They're trying to create something that it basically, like I was reading the one article, it's almost like they're trying to create a soul, man. All right. They're trying to do things that they never thought they could do, take it to a whole nother level. All right. It says dark matter does, this says right here, dark matter does not emit any light or electromagnetic radiation of any kind, you know. But hey, man, that's the point, man. All right, but hey, with that being said, Lord willing that the lesson was edifying. Salaki if I took too long, Salaki if I was all over the place. You know, it actually threw me off because I had my mind set in a certain way when I was bringing in the video, and then when they cut my shit off, that shit just messed my whole thinking process up. You know, but I still, you know, still got to bring out the lesson. Ain't nobody worried about what the hell Esau doing, trying to cut off lives and things like that. All right. Lord willing that, again, it was edifying and that it made sense. So with that being said, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Call Haloyim La, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakat Kudash. Double honors to the elders and apostles, a great millstone who do well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect that scattered abroad. Hakim and the Akwat that was listening in. Yahweh Ratazah, Lord willing that the lesson was edifying. To the next time, Shalom. And to the next lesson, hey, keep pushing, keep doing your thing with these scriptures, man. Keep preaching his word, bringing this place down to destruction, man. The Bible ball. So Shalom, Shalom.